Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video, and in today's video we're going to be going over my initial Outsider Benji Dagger based deck tech video for you today, and kind of give you my thoughts on some of the new cards and how they're utilized. I've played the deck a little bit on Talus Shards for fun, but I already have a decent understanding on how I wanted to build Benji, and because of that, wanted to give you an idea on how you can use these new Dagger throwing based cards to kind of finish games very quickly. Or finish games very quickly at the end. If you like this type of content, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Join the Discord down below. We have a great community, super active community right now. The community is insanely growing in the last month or two. Have a lot of active members in the chat. No negativity, nothing. It's really great. And if you're a longtime supporter of the channel, think about joining the Patreon. Tier 1 subscribers get access to special role in the Discord and channels that only you can see, as well as ability to send decks to be reviewed on the channel on videos. And then Tier 2 subscribers actually get videos a day early, which is pretty cool. So definitely think about that if you want to. But getting into it, I wanted to build a Benji deck. So I want to say before I do this, Benji's actually really fun right now because there's multiple ways you can build Benji that's actually playable, right? You can play the old school style Benji with a bunch of combo cards like Flood of Force and Break Tide and Rushing River and like the Torrent line. That like OTK style Benji actually is still playable. You then have like the high-low Benji where you have a bunch of like ankle biter attacks that they can't block out, followed by like really devastating attacks like Flying Kick and Command and Conquer and stuff like that, and push the point. And then you have a list like this, which is I think what LSS is trying to do, which is like the knives dagger throwing archetype where you deal like damage that only can be prevented, but it's very hard to be prevented if you're not like an Oldheim. Even Oldheim's gonna have trouble preventing it now with Crown of Seeds, obviously, and Blitz. So I like this archetype. I think it's kind of cool. I definitely think there's some room for like unique design space in it, but overall it's really good. I will say I play a little bit more defensive style of Benji than probably most people do, so keep that in mind as you're seeing this list. But in the main board, we're using the new legendary equipment piece, Flick Knives, which is once per turn attack reaction, costs nothing to do. Target dagger you control that isn't on the active chain link deals 1 damage to target hero. If damage is dealt this way, the dagger has hit. Destroy the dagger, has blade break. So basically this allows you to, if you play a double strike and they block it with equipment, you then can play Flick Knives or attack with Flick or react with Flick Knives, deal a damage with your dagger. Your dagger will destroyed, and so you can keep pushing damage. So it does a couple things. One, it actually keeps mask momentum active because you're technically hitting that dagger on that link. It's just not counting towards that attack specifically. So that link will consider to be a hit, and it can keep mask momentum alive. It also can help close out games, right? If someone doesn't have a way of damage prevention in their deck list, they cannot go to 1 against this list, or even 2. They can't go to 2 against this list because you can break both daggers and just kill them. So really good for that. Running mask momentum with links being banned, momentum is the best one to run. And then best of the first fist, although there's some idea also for Tunic, at least in this list, maybe to get some consistency over longer games, but Blitz normally goes really fast. Best of the first fist is really useful to get stuff out like Plunge for free, which is really, really nice. So, but it also, Best of the First Fist is a little bit interesting in a dagger-based build because it can screw you. Because if you have a lot of zero-cost cards with like 1 plunge, Best of the First Fist actually hurts you because you can't pitch a card for Kodachis to give it go again. Because like if I play Double Strike, let's say I have my hand is Double Strike, Be Like Water, Head Jab, and Plunge. All 0 cost with 1/1 cost. Let's say I play Double Strike first, it hits, I pop Best of the First Fist. I can play Plunge for free, which is sick, but now I can't use that last resource for Kodachi because it doesn't get go again because I don't have a 0 cost my freaking pitch. So keep that in mind with Best of the First Fist. That's what I'm saying. Like Tunic or even Blossom of Spring might end up being better just because Best of First Fist can really hurt you when you need to pitch to those Kodachis and make that more consistent, right? So then going into the list itself, in sideboard we have 2 more daggers with Needle. I like mainboard Kodachis over Needle because Needle can easily break in this meta. I personally wouldn't run Needle. You could, if you can consistently buff your daggers with like Knives Out, Conceal Blade, Plunge, stuff like that, the needle might actually be useful. But maybe you run one Kodachi, one needle in your main board. It's just kind of a feel thing, but right now I still value Kodachi's a little bit more. And then we have 3 AB, obviously. So in the list itself, Ancestral Empowerment, it buffs literally all of our attacks in the deck, literally all of them. I'm just looking at, yep, literally every attack in the deck. Super, super nice to help draw cards, prevent them from blocking you out. Keep in mind that if you do this in the attack reaction step and it goes and it puts the attack to 3, that they can now defense react from hand. So keep that in mind as time goes on. But overall, still good to run in the deck. Double strike, just awesome with what Benji wants to do. You could double strike for 1 and then double strike for 2 off Benji's ability. Benji basically gives double strike like a Shuko-like ability. I like running Flick Flax and Sink Belows as a little bit more defensive of a build, just to help keep you alive longer, so you can keep whittling your opponent down and also set up your big turn. Razor Reflex, obviously another good staple, because if they're at 3 or 4 life and you attack for 2, you can finish the game off with a Razor if they don't have a defense reaction. I put Be Like Water in and everything. What I like about Be Like Waters, I have it at yellow. I had it at blue, and I'm still deciding on putting it back into blue, maybe for hurls. But Be Like Water is just nice because it basically can be another head jab where you can combo into cards like Recoil and 1-2 Punch. But overall, I just have it basically as like my 5th and 6th head jab. Then we have 4 head jabs to help combo out with Recoil and 1-2 Punch. And when you combine this with cards like Wander with Purpose, which basically, if people aren't aware, it's a new Benji specialization that says when this hits, you may discard a card with cost 0. If you do, search your deck for a card with combo, banish it, then shuffle. You may play it this turn. Basically gives you a Katsu trigger. So when you combine that with one of these cards, you can go get 1-2 Punch, which will deal 4 damage if it's unblocked, and or Recoil, which will make them discard a card, which, like we said, or like some of you said in the comments of the Katsu set review video, these cards I think were built more for Benji, less so than Katsu. So it was a really good point by y'all, so really good job on that. And then we have Hunter Winds, just a good 2 for 0 starter. Go Again card. Hurl is really good for closing out games. It comes in for 2 at yellow and 1 at blue, but it also allows you to basically do a Flick Knives thing, which is really nice to be able to close out games. We have 1 of 1-2 Punch and 1 of Recoil as good combo cards in the head jab. Recoil will pretty much make them discard a card if they don't have equipment. One of the problems that you've seen with Benji at times, especially against aggro decks like a Dawnblade Dory or something like that, or a Fi in Blitz, is yes, you deal 8 damage, 10 damage over unblockable turn, but they just kept their hand, right? They kept a 4-card hand, 5-card hand, and with some of those decks, like, they'll just race you and beat you. So this allows you to say, okay, I just dealt 8 damage to you through like 3 or 4 cards. Now I'm going to make you also discard a card. So really nice for that. Plunge is an interesting card. I've really been enjoying it. When you attack with like a yellow plunge for the first attack and it hits, your Kodachi's going to come in for 3 next attack, because it's going to get +1 from Benji ability and +1 from plunge. That's really nice, right? Being able to attack with your Kodachis for 3 or your Zephyr for 3 is really good. And attacking with Zephyr for 3, because Zephyr reads, if Zephyr is defended by a card with defense greater than its attack power, destroy it when the combat chain closes. So once you play plunge on your first one, you then can play Zephyr Needle, because Zephyr Needle allows you to, because then it's going to be at 3, and unless they have a defense reaction, they're not gonna break it, right? You can almost guarantee it doesn't break. Getting that Zephyr Needle to 3 is really what you want to do in Benji, because unless they have a D-React in Arsenal, you're not gonna break the needle, which is really nice. Then we have Recoil, we already talked about. Ride the Tailwind's really good for giving cards like Salt the Wound Go Again, even giving cards like 1-2 Punch and Recoil Go Again, right? You play Ride the Tailwind into a blue head jab for 2, into Recoil for 2 Go Again. It has some synergy there. Also has some synergy with Salt. And then Spring Tidings. Really good card. Obviously, it's Benji's like power card. And then we're running Conceal Blade, basically a lunging press. It's a blue block 3 lunging press. It's target assassin or ninja attack action card gains +1. When this hits, equip a dagger from your inventory. So it gives our attacks +1 and helps us get a dagger back from inventory. Knives Out gives our daggers +1 this turn. So I really like Knives Out because it works just like Plunge. Like if you play Knives Out into Plunge for 2, then your next dagger is going to come in for 4 because it's going to get +1 from Benji, +1 from Knives Out, +1 from Plunge, which is pretty nutty. And then finally, Stab Wound, also good. If you can dagger and then play this for 2, it's going to come in basically hit for 4, which is a really good closer. So I'm really enjoying the list. The list does pretty well so far. I would say I would maybe to mess around with some of the newer cards, like ratio-wise, like what card is better. I think our blue Be Like Water is better to help combo into these 2 cards than blue Hurls. Like, it all depends, but I think Benji's definitely playable. It's just, can you kill someone fast enough? Because the only bad thing about this deck is it does have a lot of block 2s. Like, it has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 20 block 2s, which is actually a lot for a Benji list in my opinion. I think Benji lists, you only want like 10 block 2s because he's used to having combo and a lot of block 3s, a lot of defense reactions to help keep him in the game. So it's really interesting. Also, I run Breeze. I know Breeze doesn't really combo in anything in this list, literally nothing of use except for recoil and 1-2 punch, but I just like having the block value. And as you can see, there's nothing in here you'd want a Snapdragon Scaler, literally nothing. The only thing you could snap is Salt. That's it. But you can Breeze Rider Boots to give these go again, so that doesn't matter really at all either. So I do like the extra block value. But yeah, pretty simple list. Definitely try it out. Mess with some of the cards. This is just to give you a good starting point. I think it's in a good spot. I think Vest of the First Fist could be looked at as like looking at something else for Vest of the First Fist. I think Blossom of Spring might honestly be your best bet, to be perfectly honest. That way you don't hurt yourself on not being able to pitch to Kodachis, right? Because Vest of the First Fist can inadvertently hurt your ability to pitch for Kodachis overall, which kind of sucks. So just something to think about. But yeah, definitely check out the list. Let me know what your thoughts are. Super excited to play it. I'll also be giving an Ira list. Ira doesn't change a whole lot. She gets like 1 or 2 cards, but really Ira didn't get a whole lot in this list, in this set. It was more for Benji and Katsu. But yeah, if you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk.